Welcome in via Skype on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline, BYU tennis senior David Ball, who is doing some remarkable things right now. David, nice to have you on BYU Sports Nation.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's start here. You started an Instagram account last week called Untold Athletes that tells the stories of athletes around the country who had their seasons cut short. What made you decide to create this type of an outlet?
Yeah, when the season ended for me personally with tennis, I was talking to a lot of the other athletes around BYU, and I was just thinking about, this is devastating. We have All-Americans, we have, walk-ons, we have people with so many great stories that without kind of their NCAA tournaments and whatnot, they're not going to get the recognition they deserve. But they might not get a chance to have their inspiring stories told. So as I kind of talked to other BYU athletes and also to my girlfriend Natalie Clark, who plays soccer at BYU, we thought, what if we tried to open this up and create a platform where we could share some of these stories? And people at BYU, a lot of our friends really, really liked the idea. So then we decided, what if we open this up nationwide, especially, and say, I'm sure if we've got this many athletes at BYU, I'm sure across the country there's even more. So why not share some inspiring sports stories, especially in kind of a tough, confusing time, while also giving recognition to some great athletes.
By the way, you well done, sir. Being able to work in, giving Nat the shout out on BYU Sports Nation. Well done by you. That's going to pay off, I'm sure. So you're talking about these stories. What are some of the stories that have been submitted that have stood out to you? What are some of the ones? Give us an idea of some of the stories that you've heard.
Yeah, the cool thing is, we're getting such a range of stories submitted, and I think that's the best part. For me, we've got guys like Marcus Howard, who's a first-team All-American in basketball, a top NBA draft prospect, who's been able to share some of his thoughts on everything that's gone down. But then we also have stories from, one that I really liked amongst many was a water polo player, a girl named Lauren Baglietto, who lost her mom just weeks before this season, who lost her grandpa, wasn't going to come back to school, but it was basically her teammates that said, hey, come back, and they really helped her through this trial. And so it's able to kind of tell her story and show kind of that power of sports, really. So we've had a range of everything from top NBA, MLB draft prospects to D3 schools, people that are trying to walk on. So it's just these stories are unbelievable, and it's nice for me because I get to hear all of them.
Yeah, understandably, this is a very emotional thing for senior athletes specifically to go through when your season is so abruptly shut down and the athlete mentality is, okay, well, let's control what I can control. What's next? Well, there is no next for a lot of these seniors. So in your instance, David, how are you processing potentially not playing college tennis ever again?
Yeah, it's been just a weird time. And I think the project has allowed me and hopefully some other athletes a little bit of closure, especially for seniors, because, for me, I've been playing tennis for 20 years, been at BYU for a long time. And so you kind of, this isn't how you picture it ending. The other side of it is now all of a sudden I have all this time on my hands that I've never really had before. So I thought, hey, if I don't kind of do something quickly, I'll go crazy. And so why not try and channel this passion towards athletics in this confusing time and try and create a platform. So it's definitely been just a really interesting time, and day to day, it doesn't, it feels a little off, but it's been a good learning experience.
So as a senior, then, you haven't made any decisions on whether or not you're going to take advantage of an extra year of eligibility or not then, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you kind of go into your senior year, you're making, I was making plans post-graduation, kind of had my sights set on one last bang here, So with all this mix up, it kind of throws a wrench in the plans a little bit. But I mean, how could you not at least consider coming back to BYU Cougar Nation to use the fifth year? So for me, no plans have been made yet. That'll be a decision down the road.
BYU tennis senior David Ball with us on BYU Sports Nation. How can BYU fans and fans of sport all over the world, for that matter, find Untold Athletes and read these submissions? I think we lost David for the moment. Okay, we're going to get him back. We'll have him answer that question just as soon as we can, because I want to look more into this.
Like that, this is a fantastic idea because there are so many great stories out there, and to be able to have a platform like this to hear something, because look, we're focused on everything that's kind of going on in our sphere. You know what I mean? Just things that are happening here. But there's things happening all over the world. And for people, regardless of where you are, to be able to send in your story, you never know how your story may impact somebody else. And just having an outlet like this to be able to present it, that's an unbelievable opportunity that David's given these people.
Yes, it is cathartic to, one, be distracted from everything that's going on around us, which is why we're still doing BYU Sports Nation every day. And hopefully this is allowing people some type of stress release, at least for
and some normalcy.
A short moment of time. Yes, and to try and remain as normal as we possibly can in our routines. But it's cathartic to read other people's stories. Yeah. And everybody's dealing with this. That's what's so wild, is it's worldwide. It is a global pandemic. And so everybody is dealing with it. And that's not usually the case. Right. Like when hard things happen, whether it's a natural disaster, this is global. Well, so everybody feels the impact.
Yeah, well, and even when you know that, a lot of times you still feel like you're alone, you're the only one dealing with it. And as you mentioned, being able to hear other people talk about it, it does give you a sense that maybe I'm not by myself in this. And so, and again, we did find out, if you want to read these stories and follow this, you can go on Instagram and follow Untold Athletes on Instagram.
Follow Untold Athletes on Instagram. Do it. You better believe I'm going to go read these some of these submissions. And what a great guest. David is an extremely intelligent young man, and obviously wants to do something more. And I have so much respect for that, for a project to be made and for him to be thinking something like that. That's amazing.
And well done. Whoever did the Easter egg tree in the background, well done. Nicely done. That was very impressive.
So again, our thanks to David Ball, who joined us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.